Even after over 1,000 chapters, the contents of the Void Century still remain unknown, being wiped from the face of the world's history. Whenever it's brought up, the tension and intrigue is easily felt as characters speak in hushed whispers about this dark secret of the time of the Joy Boy, who seems connected to the lost history at the heart of the One Piece world in a major way. This is the history that someone doesn't want the world to know about, which is why it only makes uncovering the truth all the more important. In this video, I will be going over the knowledge we currently have of this time period from information studied from the scholars of the Library of Ohara, the Poneglyphs, Egghead Island, and other contents from the manga. My personal interpretation on this will also be provided to help understand what was going on in this time period that was such a vulnerability to the world government. If you would like to see future One Piece content such as this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and feel free to leave suggestions for ideas of videos you would like to see in the future in the comment section below. The development over the lore of this century has now been heavily expanded over the emergence of Imu. While very little is known about Imu so far, we know his monarchy that he feels gives him the right to sit at the top of the world government's hierarchy, even above the Gorosei. But the fact that Imu sits above the Gorosei, despite their supposed primacy, shows his authority extending beyond even their ancient role. But his status at the pinnacle of the world government's power structure could stem directly from his involvement in the events 900 years ago. The name of his being the same as one of the founders of the world government, Saint Imu from the Nerona dynasty, was also of a point in time when immortality had existed. I think that this can mean that Imu was possibly already an elder leader even at the world government's genesis. His experience guiding one of the 20 kingdoms through the Great War 900 years ago may have cemented his status above all others in the New World Order. His nation could have been instrumental in the formation of the world government that followed. Whether it's the confirmation of the theory that Imu possesses immortality or the eternal youth, it's clear he had lived throughout the entire Void Century events as more than just a participant, an architect of the world order as it exists today. Another figure that stands out as a major clue in unraveling the Void Century's mysteries is the legendary Joy Boy. We first heard his name mentioned way back in the Fishman Island arc when King Neptune talked about the unfulfilled promise between Joy Boy and Poseidon to use Noah to connect Fishman Island with the surface. This promise was made during the Void Century and is on track to be fulfilled by his reincarnation Monkey D. Luffy saving the island and marking it as his territory. Though we have yet to learn exactly who the Joy Boy was, he must have been an incredibly influential figure to make such a monumental pledge and have him being a figure that was locked into this forgotten history. And the fact that he failed to fulfill such an important promise implies that something major occurred during the Void Century to prevent him from keeping his promise. But why was he unable to return to Fishman Island after making such an important vow? Some theorize that Joy Boy could have actually been the one who created the Poneglyphs to begin with. We know the Poneglyphs originate from the Void Century, so what if the Joy Boy had inscribed on them the true history as a way to essentially keep his promise and not let the events of the Void Century be completely erased? So in order to record the true events of the Void Century, through the abilities of the Kozuki clan, Poneglyphs were created as indestructible records immune to the world government's efforts at erasing history. His broken promise reveals the immense turmoil and tragedy that must have occurred in those forgotten years. No matter your understanding of what information you can find across the world about the span of events, the world's history will always stay interpretational, as the views shared in one's journey across the world will always remain different upon the person. The name Void Century itself provides intriguing clues about the nature of the lost history. The void obviously implies an emptiness or erasure, a century of knowledge completely wiped from the world. But a void could also represent something substantial that has been lost or destroyed, an entire civilization vanishing without a trace. The void may symbolize the remnants of a mighty kingdom whose extinction the world government wants to keep hidden. The Void Century was a warring state of 100 years, a war between 20 kingdoms who go on to create the world government in a technologically advanced kingdom that is still known to this day but is referred as the Ancient Kingdom. Even though the specifics of this kingdom remain unknown, we know the kingdom was possessing technology far beyond anything we've seen in the current time. We can also get somewhat of an idea about this kingdom by taking a look into Egghead Island. This island is the remaining piece of land still intact that we have seen from this century, showcasing technology so advanced it makes the present day unable to be comparable. Their prowess likely allowed them to develop incredible technology and weapons, including possibly the ancient weapons like Poseidon, Pluton, and Uranus. These weapons undeniably could have played a pivotal role in the Void Centuries conflict. But it is only through their origin that may reveal more about what finally led to the kingdom's downfall. If they had access to automata or chemical weapons, for example, the ancient kingdom may have held an overwhelming advantage at the start of the war with the 20 kingdoms, with the 20 kingdoms winning this war despite the technological advancements this unknown kingdom had. The win in this war not only established the world government by the leaders of these 20 kingdoms, but also gave them the power to erase such events from history, including the removal of one of their own allies, Nefertari D. Lily, who seek to return home to Alabasta and continue her royal bloodline. To maintain such dominance, the reason given for the Void Centuries' erasure in history was the government's way of ensuring that this kingdom's ideals cannot be passed down to future nations and their future generations to come by establishing the order against anyone to learn about this time period, leading anyone against this or with previous knowledge to be wiped out, which even extended to world government affiliates. From the scholars of Ohara, typeset books, even to just harmless civilians. All have been eliminated just for catching a glimpse of the lost age. Such extreme measures prove how true what the facts point to are, as why would you need to go through such actions if it wasn't to desperately keep the past buried away at any cost? But even with such actions being taken, where was the source of this information from? With the poneglyph's original time of appearance being during this time period, the purpose was in attempts to show the world the truth containing the true accounts of the Void Century throughout the world. To oppose the injustice of erasing an entire civilization's history, Lily went and scattered them around the world, which was later referred to as her great mistake. But I think that their purpose goes beyond just record keeping. The poneglyphs stand as defiant monuments to the ideals of the fallen kingdom, meant to withstand time itself. They proclaim that the hopes and dreams of the Void Century must never be forgotten, even if the civilization itself perish. Regardless of government actions to erase this time from history, the events of the Void Century continue to echo through the ages, as key figures have returned in form of reincarnations in the current era. Though the Void Century civilizations perished, their beliefs and dreams now live on through these modern inheritors of their wills. Luffy's embodiment of Joy Boy's unrelenting spirit is a prime example. Their shared proclaimed destiny at Fishman Island, penchant for action over caution, and Luffy's fearless adventuring easily echoes Luffy's inheritance of the indomitable spirit of the Joy Boy. Just as the Joy Boy vowed to unite Fishman Island with the surface, Luffy accomplished the end of this hatred the Fishmen had, along with this being after the connection by saving Shirahoshi, a connection that aligns with the ancient bond between the Joy Boy and Poseidon. Shirahoshi herself is the reincarnation of Poseidon, the revered mermaid princess from Fishman Island to the Void Century. Their shared ability to commune with Sea Kings shows the ancient power has been reborn within her. And just as the Joy Boy and Poseidon shared a bond in the Void Century, Luffy and Shirahoshi seem fated to walk together towards the dawn of the world. Blackbeard's conquest to upend the world government mirrors the alliance of the 20 kingdoms aiming to overthrow the ancient kingdom 900 years ago. Just as those nations allied to topple what they saw as an existential threat, Blackbeard now amassed force on his bloody path to become the king of the pirates. The 20 kingdoms likely feared the advanced technology and knowledge possessed by the ancient kingdom. They deemed its mere existence too dangerous, forcing them to preemptively band together and dispose it before their own interests were threatened. Similarly, Blackbeard hungers to snuff out any potential rivals in his single-minded pursuit of supremacy. He targets formidable foes like Whitebeard, Luffy, Bo Hancock, and even the Revolutionary Army for elimination, while gathering the strongest Zone Devil Fruit army possible. His objectives hold uncanny similarities to the 20-nation alliance that were dead set on eliminating the ancient kingdom despite no direct aggression. Both seek primarily to consolidate authority, eliminating all competition, real or perceived. When you already sit atop the world, even kings can seem too threatening to leave be. This compulsive need to stamp out rival power exposes the all-consuming insecurity that drives tyrants like Blackbeard and the 20-nation alliance. In the wake of the 20 nations victory, the world government arose to rule uncontested for centuries after. If Blackbeard succeeds, he may just secure authority just as far-reaching. Other striking examples bolster the case for reincarnation across the centuries. The similarities between Nefertari Vivi and her ancestor Nefertari D. Lily, who defied the cleansing of history, cannot be a mere coincidence. Lily's defiance of the world government's censorship by scattering the poneglyphs lives on in Vivi's fierce loyalty to her kingdom over a corrupt world government. Despite the grave risk for defying the formation of the world government, Lily valued truth over safety. This heroic heroic spirit lives on in Vivi, who similarly risks everything to save her kingdom from a corrupt world government faction. Vivi infiltrates the organization of the Baroku Works, who were plotting to destroy Alabasta, refusing to compromise her integrity even when it puts her life at stake. Both Lily and Vivi understand that sometimes justice requires sacrificing personal security for a greater cause. Whether by dispersing forbidden knowledge or exposing government lies, their shared principles compel them to fight oppression even at great personal cost. When faced with institutions warped by power, their souls shine as beacons of honesty against the darkness. The similarities between the legendary swordsman Sword God Ryuma and pirate hunter Zoro also suggest a powerful ancient soul reborn through the generations. Ryuma's legendary swordsmanship reborn in Zoro hints at a shared soul passing down monstrous strength and unrivaled warrior spirit through time. Ryuma's swordplay reputedly reached divine levels of mastery befitting his name. Even in death as a reanimated corpse, his sword skills remain godly. This incredible talent bleeding into Zoro centuries later supports the promise Zoro shows as the future holder of title as the world's strongest swordsman. When Zoro defeated Ryuma's zombie on Thriller Bark, their duel seemed to channel two shades of the same indomitable will across time. Zoro inherits Shisui, Ryuma's famous black blade, which further bonds their destinies. As more clues get revealed, we get closer to illuminating the truth behind the lost history that shaped the One Piece world. Its secrets have been buried for centuries, but the tide of time is turning. Inherited wills, reawakened souls, and steadfast resolve may finally unveil the century the world government tried so hard to erase. But knowledge will always come at a cost. Seeking answers about the Void Century remains dangerous in the face of oppressive forces that are desperate to keep the past concealed. However, I think uncovering the reality of 900 years ago is worth any risk. The principles and dreams of those forgotten civilizations deserve to live on. Their history belongs not just to them, but to everyone to learn. And though the full truth has yet to emerge, I know it will shake the One Piece world again.